Well, Dylan, it looks like we are going to have to contact the Burning Hammer lawyers, apparently, because WWE is going to have a little lawsuit coming their way from the Burning Hammer boys. I don't know if anybody caught the new WWE and Travis Scott t-shirt, but we pretty much made almost the exact same t-shirt a while ago when we first opened up our storefront. I think we only had it active for like a couple of weeks because we were just trying to get out a ton of different designs.
All right, so the only thing I will say is that I looked back on it years later. Not years later, but Mr. Kennedy did have a very similar shirt back in the day to what we had.
That says wrestling is real?
Yes.
Damn, I gotta find that shirt then.
Yeah, it says pro wrestling is real, and then on the back it says something is fake. Similar. That might have been the inspiration.
Maybe
it was subconscious in the head. But
sure.
Let's not speak. If anything, give the money to Ken Kennedy. It was a TNA.
Yeah.
It was a TNA Ken Kennedy shirt. I'll say that.
Oh, okay. TNA Ken Kennedy.
Yeah.
Yeah, so they did. I don't know. Obviously, I don't know if you guys saw it. I got it in an email from them where it just says "Wrestling is real," almost the same exact font.
Yeah, and then it's got the picture on the back.
Yeah, with like the Cactus Jack or whatever. I wonder.
In this scenario, I think they copied it from us.
Sure.
We're not calling for the royalties. We would love them, but I think if the royalties, I can understand if the royalties would at least go to either Ken Anderson or us.
Give it to us. We'll give it to Mr. Kennedy.
Yeah.
And then WWE can give us a job, and we can come up with some cool T-shirt designs and
Yeah, dude. Let us be the writers for like
anything.
Evolve. That would be cool.
Literally anything.
Yeah. Yeah. Just let us write, and we'll
Yeah.
show you that we got it. We got it in here, man.
We do. Also, that reminds me that if you're not watching live, me and Dylan accidentally have the same Stone Cold hat on.
Yes.
We're just on the same wavelength.
Yes.
Like
I got this as a gift from you. I will.
You did.
I will acknowledge that.
I bought them both at the same time.
Both of us having a bad
buy
hair.
one get one.
Yeah, both of us having a bad hair day.
Yeah. Great hat though. Great.
Yeah,
hat.
absolutely. Very appreciative.
And that also that reminds me, Dylan. Let's get a little T-shirt check going before we get into this episode because we had a few things happen on SmackDown that we went to, and then Monday Night Raw was kind of another big episode of Raw. But let's get into this little bit of a T-shirt check, Dylan. What you got on today?
Yeah, so today I went with nothing too crazy in the collection. This was a pickup from a few years back at Target, actually. So whenever I see a cheap little wrestling T-shirt in a spot like that, you know what I mean, I'll usually grab it if it's nothing too expensive. And it's kind of hard to get an old school WrestleMania shirt without Hogan on it. So once I saw one, I was like, a few years back, I had to grab this one. But this is that old school WrestleMania, of course. Got the Macho Man on there, Ultimate Warrior, Big Boss Man, Jim Neidhart, Bret Hart, Jake the Snake, Roddy Piper. Who else is on there? British Bulldog. So, yeah, this is I don't know exactly which WrestleMania this is for. I did know at one point, and I forget. But, yeah, just a solid little WrestleMania. As we're on the road to WrestleMania, I figured it was kind of fitting to break this one out this season as we're in the road to WrestleMania.
Yeah.
And, yeah, so I don't know if they still sell this one at Target, but that's why we say. You know what I mean? You can build that wrestling T-shirt collection if in places that, in a lot of places that you didn't even think that you could.
Yeah.
There are a lot more places than just straight up spending $35-$40 on WWE Shop for every shirt or at the event. And we've done our fair share of that. So we're not hating on that. And we will continue to buy stuff from there. But for people who might not be rolling in the dough and want to build that T-shirt collection, you can kind of hear any advice that we may give you, because we've really built it over the last couple of years, each of us, and neither of us are necessarily rolling in the dough. A lot of our shirts we find secondhand or in a cheap
That's
fashion.
the way to do it.
So, just so we know. So, yeah, little old school WrestleMania shirt as we're on the road to WrestleMania. What do you got, Mark?
So this is the one I got on today, Dylan. I'm being a bit of a businessman today, as I have on the Burning Hammer's own Protect Kayfabe hoodie.
Woo!
Here.
Look at it, baby. There it is.
One of my favorite hoodies. You got Protect Kayfabe kind of almost in a rough stencil font there. You got some barbed wire and a square around it. You can get this tpublic.com. We have it in the white font and we have it in the black font. I'll probably pick up a T-shirt for the summer in the red. I thought the red with the black font looked pretty sick. It gave me that old school NWO red and black vibes with it. And I actually just got a compliment on this at Wawa the other day.
Nice. Hell yeah.
From somebody that was working there, and they said that they used to watch it back in the day, and kayfabe's very important. I said, boy, do I know it. So, yeah, I mean, and like Dylan said, you can obviously shop our merch. Our stuff's pretty affordable. I believe it's like $22 for a T-shirt. You can get it from WWE Shop. It's usually around like $30 before shipping and taxes. And then obviously, and don't sleep on WWE's clearance. There's a bunch of shirts on there that are pretty sick.
Yeah, if there's a shirt that you're on the fence about getting, I would wait it out. Unless it's like a top tier popular shirt that's always going to be a top seller. Like at this point, like just like the straight up Jey Uso Yeet shirt, like the blue Jey Uso Yeet, it's probably always going to be $35. Certain Cena shirts are always going to be, you know what I mean? The classic, some of the infamous shirts are going to sit at that price. But if there's a shirt that you're on the fence about, definitely give it some time, and that baby is probably going to go on sale or clearance.
That's right.
I've gotten countless shirts for like. Sometimes if you wait it out, them shirts get cheap, dude. Like,
they had a pretty sweet Kevin Owens shirt for $10.
They constantly. If you wait it out, I mean, I learned the lesson the hard way. The one time I bought, and no pun intended about learning the lesson the hard way, I bought a Meek Mill shirt, the Meek Mill WWE shirt, no Diddy, and this was a while back before the Diddy suit. Yeah, so I bought like the Dreams and Nightmares like WWE T-shirt that they had for like $35, and then it didn't occur to me. They're like, yeah, I'm from Philadelphia, so that's like part of the reason I wanted to buy. It's part of the reason I like Meek Mill to begin with. So I feel like I didn't put two and two together, and then whatever, a couple months later, that baby was like $8, and I could have just waited it out and got it then.
Yeah,
but,
that was tough.
Yeah, you see, so I mean, to be fair, very much learned the hard way. That is the worst quality wrestling shirt I've ever bought in my entire life. I think it was that one's definitely like, it's a shitty Fanatics made one, obviously.
Yeah. Probably don't think too many people would buy it. Just give them the shitty shirts.
Dude, it's so bad. It's so bad. Like, the entire thing is faded completely at this point. Like, the color is just, the print is just like a white, like, with all the colors just gone, basically.
Probably time to donate it.
Yeah, it just sits there. It's really comfortable. It's a soft, comfortable shirt. So I just could kind of wear it around the house. But anyway, yeah, so we constantly say it, but there's affordable ways to build up the merch and the memorabilia collections and stuff. And if you're patient, that collection will really start to build over the years. So, yeah.
Yeah, so and also check out like Poshmark or Mercari. You can get used shirts there for pretty cheap. That's like my number one place that I go to get, especially older shirts, without trying to pay like $150, $200 for like the old school Stone Cold and NWO and ECW shirts. Like, you can get like ones that are 10 years old from there, and you can find the good deals on there. And And those actual shirts are better, like the like fabric and stuff. Like I prefer those ones over their like current t-shirts.
Oh yeah, the ones that had the tag on the
Oh,
front,
yeah.
on the bottom.
Yeah.
That's like when they were at the top of their quality, in my opinion.
Yeah.
If they had the tag on the
It's a
bottom,
bit of a heavier
yeah.
like cotton blend. And those ones always fit better. Like the new ones, they just fit
I'll
weird.
say- No, what were you gonna say?
They fit a little long, and the sleeves are always kind of a little short.
Yeah, 100%
like,
agreed. It's the shitty material, dude. It just shrinks, and it's like not. It's so bad.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that's. I would say like the only complaint I would have against those like older, not even older at this point. They're like probably like 10 to 12 years old.
Yeah.
That material, but they were pretty like thick and heavy. So
Yeah.
sometimes it would be, they could be a little too thick and heavy. I feel like if you wore them in like the summertime and stuff like that. But I would 100% take those shirts a million times over the current WWE Fanatics merch. It's so bad.
Yeah. Hopefully they see this and they can switch up their t-shirt designs. But Dylan, we are this is the first time we're talking on the pod since we went to Friday Night SmackDown. We had us and the little Burning Hammer groupie went to Friday Night SmackDown in Philadelphia. We had a great Cody Rhodes segment. We had a great street fight with Chelsea Green and Mishin. We had LA Knight win the United States Championship in the main event. And then we also got Naomi in the full-blown heel turn, Dylan. So, talk us through that. What do you think about Naomi just straight up admitting that she was the one who attacked Jade? And she said she did it for Bianca. I haven't seen what people thought about that segment online at all, so you guys let us know in the comments. What did you think about that Bianca and Naomi and Jade segment from SmackDown a week or two ago? But what were your thoughts on it, Dylan?
I really liked it, honestly, and I feel like it made a lot of sense. Naomi and Bianca were tight before Jade came around, and Naomi was kind of the bridge between connecting the big three and bringing it all together. And I think there's always got to be it's the best when the heel has when there's a little bit of merit behind what the heel says. Sometimes there's more, sometimes there's less. In this situation, I think it's very much up to. It's very much in the eyes of the beholder on exactly how much merit there is behind Naomi's argument, but she was saying that Jade was kind of riding the coattails of Bianca, you know what I mean? And that was Bianca was a huge star, and ever since Jade came around, she's been kind of downgraded, and Jade's just been using her as a partner to stay relevant and stuff like that. And to where there's obviously a ton of there's a ton of argument that you can use against that. There's also a little bit of something to that. Absolutely. Sure. Of course there's something to that. Bianca is a huge star. Jade was new, and they definitely used Bianca to elevate Jade and bring her to a higher tier. That was 100%. They were trying to give her the rub from Bianca and get her higher up on the card through that. So there's 100% merit in Naomi's argument. And I really liked the way it worked. Honestly, I liked the way
Agreed.
She came out. Yeah, I did it. Like, and it makes a lot of sense. Like, of course, she didn't want to make Bianca, like, she wanted to take Jade's place, obviously. So why would she ever like try to make it seem like it was her? I really, really enjoyed it, and I feel what I'm more excited for, rather than just that promo, is to get heel Naomi, dude. Like, heel Naomi moving forward. Not just here, dude. Heel Naomi in general, regardless of how it happened, how the turn, what you think about the turn, the reasoning, who it should have been, who it could have been, if Bianca is involved, if she should have been, if she still might be. Naomi being heel is the right call. Like, that's the move. she's
Agreed.
going to excel as a heel. Of course, that was great. You ungrateful bitch. Hit her with that. Oh my God, that was wild.
Classic.
So
do you
the bedazzled neck brace, brilliant. Naomi,
I'm a
great
sucker for stuff like that,
dude. It's just so like great and heel and like, it's just it's over the top, and it's little things like that like the diehard fans like us notice, and then it like gets people when it's stupid and little when we kind of like nerd out over little things like that, but it's
just
like
fully committing to the bit.
Yeah, exactly. It's just like when people are fully committing themselves to the craft that we have like fully committed pretty much a ton of hours and thoughts of our entire life outside of work to pro wrestling and this podcast and just thinking about it and watching it. So it's awesome when the people that you're watching, you kind of see them give that same energy back into the product that they're creating. And like I said, it's not just, obviously, we don't have to talk about it too much, but when people get into the little details like that, people notice, and it was cool. I liked it.
So, do you think we're going to get a new Naomi theme song?
I definitely think, yeah, I'm going to say yeah.
Interesting. So, I think the interesting thing with her theme song is, you scream glow, glow, glow. But now the crowd can just scream no, 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 no. So I think I could see them potentially just having her keep the same theme song, hoping everyone just chants no instead of glow. But I think they probably will roll with her current theme song for now, at least, and kind of see how the crowd reacts to it. Maybe try to get the crowd chanting no instead of glow and that sort of thing. So people, if you're going to upcoming SmackDowns and Naomi's on there, let's start to get that no chant going. And let's say the Burning Hammer came up with that idea.
Yeah.
And let's get us popping.
No.
So probably Jade versus Naomi at Mania. Feel pretty good about that.
Yeah, it definitely looks like we're going to get Jade versus Naomi at WrestleMania now. It definitely looks like that. And I am incredibly excited to have a high priority women's wrestling storyline without a title involved.
Yeah.
It definitely started to feel like a while with the Jade thing, and obviously part of it was because of Mania. And as the Jade return now has happened, I think it makes sense why it took as long as it did. You needed Naomi to build that relationship back with Bianca and her, so it could hurt that much more. And it's like, if you want, it makes sense having Naomi win the title and stuff, and then it's like you can't just have her return right after. I don't know. The timing makes a lot more sense now that she's returned and the story has played out a little. And that's why you always got to give things time and see how things work out. And yeah, that's absolutely what I'm the most excited about, Mark, is that we have a storyline, a properly thought out, good story between two really, really talented women's wrestlers, and there's no title involved, and they're going to get a big singles match at WrestleMania. That's awesome, Mark.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
I know.
That's an awesome sentence to say.
Yeah, it feels like it's been quite some time since we've gotten a non-title women's feud, especially at WrestleMania. I'd be curious to see, like, maybe, I don't even remember, but I mean, yeah, it feels good, Dylan, and that match is going to be an absolute banger. Jade is obviously very awesome, and so is Naomi, but Jade just coming back, beating the shit out of Naomi at the Chamber, and then coming back on SmackDown and doing it again, and just being in the crowd for that. Like, Jade's one of their top stars, man, and I think she
that was a star. We said it when it happened. Like, I'm pretty sure we said it last week on the podcast, but that was a star-making moment for Jade. Like, absolutely it was.
And I think it's a good decision because it also kind of solidifies her more as like a tweener, like this tweener badass that we kind of talk about, which is kind of we're starting to see more and more now instead of just like pure white meat babyface.
Yeah,
we're
100%.
getting more tweeners, and I think it's awesome.
She works way better as a tweener too, and a lot of people do. I think that's
Yeah.
why, because we're human, man. Like that's what I think is what has, as wrestling has evolved, gimmicks and characterization, and it's always going to be such an integral part, if not the most important part of wrestling. And it always will be. But the way things, in my opinion, the way things have evolved over the years is that there is still room for straight up classic gimmicks, and there is still room for that. But I think it's in this day and age specifically, I think people want realness, and they want to be able to relate, and they want to build a connection, and they want to be able to, I guess, see themselves in that. And that's always been the case in storytelling and professional wrestling, right? Like it's always been about you connecting with the little guy and seeing him go up against the big guy and watching the little guy get knocked down a bunch and then finally come out on top, and you connect with the little guy and you whatever, you feel like you feel yourself, you feel like you are him a little bit, and that's the beauty of just like the pure essence of pro wrestling. But it's gotten to the point where I feel like the characters have to be just a lot more real. Like they need to be, the fans need to be able to see themselves, and they need to be able to kind of see the struggle a little bit in your character, in your persona, for it to get as over as it can in this day and age.
Yeah.
I also, that might have just been a bunch of fucking word salad. Like, I don't even know what that was. Like, that might have not made sense. But before I'm going to pass the mic and give you that. But I just want to say, like, to kind of back up my point on what I was saying a little bit, is that, and this is like, I think I'm taking my time in saying it, in that this is like not a dig in like the gimmick, like in, this is not a dig on gimmicks or like characters or anything like that. I love everything pro wrestling, but if it's just, if you noticed, you know what I mean? The people who are the most over and the biggest stars nowadays are CM Punk and Seth and Rhea and Roman and Becky, you know what I mean? And there's something about all of those people, right, where you're able to connect with them, and there's like a real life fight that they had to kind of go through in a way, you know what I mean? Rhea, in just the fact that she's so confident and strong, and the way that she carries herself is a type of attitude that can excel the women's division just in the way that she carries herself, and that it's just the way she carries herself, and I think that's enough said. And then you have, of course, Roman with everything he's been through in his personal life. Seth, like, we've seen the absolute workhorse that Seth has been for this company over the last 12 years, and really not ever been straight up handed the ball quite like guys like Roman and Cody have. And then you have guys like Punk, of course, people like Becky, who have struggled to, who have kind of, were never supposed to be as successful, you know what I mean? If there was ever supposed to be a women's main event of WrestleMania, it was supposed to be between Ronda Rousey and Charlotte Flair. Like, that was what it was. If, you know what I mean? Like, in WWE's minds, that's what it would have been. But it's that real and raw connection with the fans that gets people so incredibly over at this point. If if that makes sense. And it feels like it's more necessary than it's ever been in wrestling, I guess, is what I'm trying to get across.
And I think that one of the biggest difference makers between like a
Drew
heel
is
and
the biggest one too. Sorry, but
yeah, and I think that like the biggest difference between like a heel and a tweener would be that when the tweener does something, they'll do something heelish, but they'll be justified in doing so, right?
yeah,
Jade Cargill comes back. She beats the absolute shit out of Naomi. That's a heel thing to do. But when it's justified after Naomi just took her out of action for the past few months, then it's like, all right, well, then you root for them because their reasoning's justified. So I think like that's the biggest difference with like having a babyface, a tweener, and a heel is just like the reasoning of why you're doing things. Like a babyface wouldn't go out there and kick the crap out of Naomi. They would cut a promo talking about how they're going to teach them a lesson at WrestleMania. We'll settle this in the ring. It's like, no, like that's okay in certain circumstances, but like the realness, like you said, is like, you just put me on the shelf, I'm going to come back and I'm going to kick your ass.
Yeah, it's like
and
that's how.
Like, that's the realness of it.
Yeah, and I think that's where that's what I'm trying to get at. I think that was a great explanation of it, Mark, is that it's like I'm here, what you did was wrong, and I'm going to do what's right. Like that is, we've gotten to people, that shtick has gotten very played out over the years, and it's not that it's completely played out, and there's absolutely times where it's necessary to have somebody who does the right thing and stuff like that, but it's like you said, the idea of if she just came back and cut a promo, it was Naomi and now I'm doing the right thing, challenging you to a match, like that's not how people think. That's not how humans work. Like humans are, a real person is so mad that happened, and they go and attack her and hurt her just as bad as she hurt you. Like that's how humans think. That's real, like you said.
Yeah.
And that's where that's why we're seeing more and more tweeners, I think, is because now, especially with social media, there's so much more people, and whether they listen to it or not, they listen to it to an extent, and I think they know what people say. They know how what the overall internet reaction is, and then they know that the in the crowd reaction is a little bit of a different one. But I guess what I'm trying to get at is there's so many ways to see through things now and to pick them apart and to be able to be like, oh, that doesn't make sense. Like there's so many tools to be able to do that, right? Like we're able to just sit there and watch a clip 1,000 times in a row and be like, and at the end of it be like, yeah, actually that didn't really make a lot of sense. So I think being real and making sense in like what would a real person do, or how would a real person feel in this scenario, has become so much more important because of that.
Yeah, for sure. And so we got a title change in the main event of SmackDown.
Yeah,
Dylan.
we did, man.
Yeah. LA Knight's your new United States champion.
LA Knight.
Yeah. So
yeah.
What do you think LA Knight's doing for WrestleMania? I mean, he's got to be on the card, right?
Yeah, I would think. Who did he beat to get the match with Shinsuke?
I want to say it was either Fatu and Strowman or Andrade and Mello. Those are kind of the guys that have been in the U.S. title picture.
Listen, man, they might do Shinsuke again. I'm not saying they definitely will, but there is reports that, and I take everything with a grain of salt.
Yes.
So, but like I saw something that said the plans originally were for LA Knight and Shinsuke to happen at Mania, but like the story kind of just like had no life, and they were just like, all right, we just kind of like have to put it back on LA Knight now and like go and like roll with something else.
I saw something that said that Shinsuke's contract may be up soon. And they
yeah,
weren't going to renew it.
I did see
I don't
that
know
as
how
well.
true that was, but obviously,
dude, at this point, like, I love Shinsuke, and it's like I would love for him to be successful in WWE, but in WWE. But at this point, I'm like, he probably should just go back to Japan. Like, he'll be a star at least. Like, I don't know, man. Like, I love Shinsuke.
Yeah, he obviously, I don't think for whatever reasons WWE he never hit the peak that we thought he could hit.
He shouldn't have lost to AJ at WrestleMania.
Yep, agreed. That's kind of, I think we'll go look back and kind of point to
that's
that.
Like, yeah, shouldn't have lost to AJ. It's a shame because I love Shinsuke, man. He's so good.
He's great,
and it's just like
and he's
I don't
a legend.
know. And I understand the heel turn. I definitely I understand the heel turn, but then it's like, all right, with the heel turn, you're taking away a big part of his personality as well as his entrance, and that's a huge part of how he connects with the fans.
Yeah.
So, and I understand he's a heel. So you don't necessarily want him to be over, but you want them to care at least, and they just
need him to react.
Yeah, you need him to react, and listen, I really don't. I don't put anything on Shinsuke. I don't think they've ever booked him correctly ever in his entire career since he left NXT.
It's weird because, like you said, when he came back and turned heel, like I thought it was great. Like he had a great couple of month run there, but then it's just like it feels like once he got to like the LA Knight US title picture, it kind of just like felt like it never really built up to what it could have been. Because like when he came back, dude, it was awesome cutting those sweet promos backstage or wherever he was. Like I was pumped for it, and then I don't know, for whatever reason, the feud with him and LA Knight just never really worked out.
I don't think they ever should have. I think they just should have slow burned his return, right? Like, so I think if that was their plan, right, LA Knight versus Shinsuke at Mania, I think they just should have slow burned it and like at this point like never had. I think it should have went in as LA as champion versus a heel Shinsuke.
Yeah,
and then you can have it like it's whatever, like Shinsuke doesn't get a 40-day US title reign out of it. Who cares? Like, you know what I mean? Like that would have been way better in really letting him build this character. I think a huge part of it was that people were excited to see Shinsuke. I think that was part of it, is that like he was gone and people were excited to see him. And then you had him take the title off somebody that everybody was waiting so long to have a title run.
Yeah.
And then it made everybody pissed at Shinsuke. And it's like, we just wanted to be excited to see Shinsuke Nakamura.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And it's like,
especially when they take the title off of LA Knight.
That's what I'm saying. Like, it's like, all right, yeah, like, we were so excited to see Shinsuke, but this is not what we wanted his return to be. So it's like, they put him in a really rough spot.
Yeah, so I would like to see Melo versus LA Knight at WrestleMania. I think that would be sick. Obviously, and that's another questionable booking they've been doing for the past few months is Carmelo Hayes. I don't know, really. I think
Melo don't miss.
Melo, that is funny.
Yeah.
But it's like, I don't know. I think Melo's just so much better than being in this comedy heel tag team.
Yeah, and I think we know that. I think it's just
a little bit of a waiting game.
Yeah, I think it's just a waiting game. I think they're just trying to fill time. So I think there is. So this is what I will say. I think there is something. There's a lot more to just being on TV every week. The fact that Carmelo Hayes is on TV every week means that Triple H, like, he wants Carmelo Hayes to be relevant for when his time comes. Yeah. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Like the same way that Bronson Reed was on TV every week in little things here and there for like a year because he just needed to be there because his time was going to come. And I think it's kind of that sort of situation with Carmelo Hayes. He's still young, man. Like,
I know.
I think that's like there's just so many big players in WWE right now. I think that's the biggest thing is there's so many big players in WWE right now, especially if you're a young guy looking to become a big player, right? Like Carmelo Hayes. I think remaining patient while staying confident that your time will come. You know what I mean? Through just being patient and just doing and keeping your head down.
Yeah.
I think there's just like that's the biggest thing that you kind of need in that situation right now because I don't know, like you think about it, it's like, yeah, I'm excited for Obafemi on the main roster, right? Right. But it's
Big
like
time.
what but it's
not the time yet.
But they got so many, you know what I mean? But it's like they got so many guys, man, that it's like
Dude, Oba versus Gunther? God.
Yeah. But I'm like, dude, I'm even at the point where I'm like, I think people need to start staying in NXT longer.
I'm with you, especially with how many times we've seen people get called up and then they're kind of just like, all right, we've got nothing for you, and they're just like floating around.
Bro, like I'm at this point, keep Oba in NXT until after next Mania.
Holy shit.
Let him hold the title the whole time.
Oh. I can get behind that. I think that it's like, and I'll say this.
Like, I'm just like, because, or no, what were you going to say? Sorry.
So, first, I want to plant my flag that Oba versus Trick is going to be the next biggest feud for the next. Once they both are on the main roster, it's going to be the biggest heel babyface feud for 10 years.
Oba and Trick?
Yeah. Like, that is going to be, like, the biggest, like, heel-face feud. We're going to, like, get that whenever they do that. But also, it's, like, part of it's just, like, you want to watch them weekly on the main roster. That's kind of the part of the thing. But such a big thing is timing. And it's, like, now you got TNA's in the fold. Like, NXT isn't just this developmental system anymore. Like, they're their own brand, obviously, with, like, viewers, and they're not wrestling in as big stadiums and arenas and stuff, but it's like they are huge. Like they're bigger than TNA. They're just as big as like AEW. Like, and like we kind of overlook like how big NXT truly is, and it's just like let them run it in NXT before they kind of
that's
come
what I
up
mean. Like
and just do nothing.
And NXT has so many guys too right now that it's just like that's the thing, man. The roster is just huge, and it's like. Yeah, I don't know. We talk about guys like you have guys like Ricky Starks and Ethan Page and Trick and Oba and Javon Evans and our Ricky Saints now. I apologize. I said Ricky Starks, but and then of course I give the women's division. Of course, there's always more room for them. It's already a stacked division, but they don't get enough time on TV to begin with, probably. So I think that's like.
What do you think? Probably call up 10 NXT women who are main roster ready.
Like that's
literally
part of
10.
It, but that's
that's insane.
It's just like. Yeah, I think. I just want people to stay in NXT longer now that, like you said, it's become such a third brand. And I just don't want people to get lost in the shuffle, man. Like, Oba's great. Oba is amazing. I love Obafemi. Do I think he is main roster ready? Pretty much. Yeah. I think he's just about main roster ready. Not just about. I think he's just about main roster ready. But think about how good he'll be a year from now.
Yeah.
Like that's
He's also I didn't know how old he was. I looked it up. He's only 26.
That's what I mean. Like he's so young. They got these people where it's like we got
there's so much young talent.
Professional wrestling isn't like other
so
sports.
much young
You
talent.
know what I mean? Like once people hit 30 and they start to hit their down years in other sports, like
You're like beginning your prime.
You're hitting your prime when you're 30 because that maturity adds so much to your character, your in-ring ability. Like that's what it's just reps, dude. Like it just you can't. So that's the thing. It's just like Oba hasn't even been wrestling that long and he's already this good. So I think you're partially doing him a disservice. I think, you know what I mean? I think you send him up after Stand and Deliver this year, let's say. I think there's a really good chance that he does really good. I think you wait a year, give him a year-long title reign to get better, go do matches in TNA against champions, whatever, some stuff like that. Like, and then he comes up, it's like, all right, now he's ready to be in a big marquee match at WrestleMania as soon as he joins the roster. Rather than, I think that's where I'm trying to go with it. I think it's like they have so many guys now that they shouldn't just wait till people are ready for the main roster. They should wait until the main roster's ready for them. And I think it's – and it not just that, but also they shouldn't just be waiting for people – they shouldn't just be waiting until people are ready for the main roster. They should be waiting until people are way too big and good for NXT. Like that's what they need to be doing in my head. Like it shouldn't be, oh, this guy's really good. He can probably hack it on the main roster. I think it's, we need to get this guy out of NXT. Like we need to build another star. He or she is. They need to go up to the main roster. Like that's what it needs to be because of how many people they have at this point. It's like it's like there's like people like I don't know, there's like legit chances of all these like world champions somewhat soon, right? Like let's just say like these are people who realistically we can absolutely picture with a world title over the next 2-3 years. Like that's Seth, Punk, Roman, Drew, Cena, even though it'll be for potentially just a little. We'll even keep him out of it. Cody, Punk, Roman, Seth, Drew, Jay, Gunther, KO potentially, Sammy. You have like those are all guys who could potentially hold the title like Jacob Fatu. Like these are all guys. No, like legit Jacob Fatu.
Good.
Braun Breaker. Like these are all. It's just like we still got these guys, dude. We can't be bringing up Obafemi yet. Like we gotta let him cook and marinate and become an absolute beast. So when he comes up, there's no quit. Like I just don't want a situation. Like I just don't want him to be a Braun Strowman type guy on the main roster. He just can't be. He's too good. And I think they know that. And I think the best way to do that is to give him more time.
I think one of the bigger things, at least now, I feel like, is when they call people up from NXT, it feels like it's more of the wrestlers who like weren't like they were big in NXT, but they weren't the biggest, right? Like I'm not worried about like Oba or Trick getting lost in the fold, but it's like if you call up like Tony D'Angelo or Andre Chase, like those are guys that could get lost in the fold. Although I think having the family on the main roster, it's going to be money. The same thing with like Chase U if they get them on the main roster. But it's like I think the harder thing is for wrestlers along those lines to come up who you could see fall to the side. But it's like you have guys like Trick Williams, you have guys like Oba Family, you have women like Stephanie Vakir and Julia. Like, those wrestlers are undeniable. You call them up to the main roster, like, they are going, like, they will not be denied like a big spot. So that's where I think like wrestlers like that, I think, can get away with coming up onto the main roster as long as they have something ready for them. And I think that's one of the better things that Triple H has been doing for the most part. Obviously, we have times where people from NXT get drafted to the main roster, especially last year, and just don't really do much with them. But I think there may be other shenanigans going on with that. But I think now they're ready, especially with all the big signings they're doing across like actual wrestling instead of like the NIL deals. I think they're more ready now to call people up and not let them just go to waste. And it is a learning curve because that's something that they struggled with for a very long time. You know, you've seen guys, you've seen your Finn Balor's, you've seen your Karrion Crosses, you've seen your Samoa Joes who are at the top, and then they call
I think
up and
Karrion
they never
Cross
really...
is world champ material.
I agree. I fully agree.
That's what I mean. Like, there is guy after guy that is potential world champion currently on the main roster. So I think why not just keep letting NXT cook as its own third brand? I'll give the accept, like, there is certain guys that I think should come up. Like, I think Trick should probably come up soon.
100%.
Yeah, like Trick
after Mania, Trick needs to come up.
like Trick should come up.
I don't need him feuding with Eddie Thorpe. I'm sorry. No disrespect to Eddie Thorpe, but like, let him come up to the main roster and beef with Mello.
Who did he beat the other day in like 6 seconds?
Some rando.
Trick shot. Dude, that was sick though.
I didn't see it.
Oh my god, it was so. You didn't see it?
No.
But dude, bell rang. He just immediately hits Trick knee, and then just like immediately. Or it's not called Trick knee. It's called Trick. It's called Trick shot, right?
It is the Trick knee, and I think it is called the Trick shot.
It is a trick shot, right?
Yeah.
But it's a knee, obviously.
It is. It is technically a trick knee.
Yeah,
but the move is called the trick shot.
I don't know why.
Great finisher. We don't talk about the rising.
Oh, he
strike
hits it so good too, dude.
Great.
I love a good strike finish. But yeah. So whatever. Bell rings. He hits a trick shot, and then like the guy's on the ground, and he just fucking starts pummeling him, and then the ref.
They had to stop the match.
Yeah,
right?
and then the ref was just like, "No, dude, get off!" Like,
yeah, we need more of those.
He hit him with like a knockout shot, and then just like punched the shit out of him a few times, and then the ref just called it, and I was like, "Yeah, that was awesome."
That's another guy in the tweener category now.
Yeah,
Trick.
Yeah.
Which in the industry we call that a callback to earlier in the pod. But yeah, dude. Yeah, let's wait till the main roster is ready for these wrestlers.
Yeah, like that's the thing. I want to see them on the main roster, of course. I just like I said, it's just the more crowded it gets, the less time there is and the less room there is for people.
Yeah.
But with that being said, the two people I 100% think, I think there's two people. I think it's kind of like two people. One Trick we already said, and then I think Tony D'Angelo and the family need to come up. But that's actually one I'm not worried about them. I think that's going to be a situation where they do better on the main roster. I think
I agree.
that gimmick is
if booked
made
properly.
Yeah, exactly.
But it's money. That gimmick is money,
and it's made for the main roster, dude.
It's so money.
It's made better for the main roster than it is for NXT, in my opinion. That think of how much more they'll be able to do with main roster production and money. Like they'll be able to tell some crazy, dude. Like they're gonna tell some insane stories.
It's gonna be awesome
with them. Seriously,
them versus the Bloodline. Hello, but yeah, I am
La
super
Famiglia versus the Bloodline.
So we'll wrap it up on this from Monday Night Raw. Great. I thought it was a good segment between Io, Rhea, and Bianca. Between them, obviously.
Yeah, I loved it. I thought Io came out of that segment a bigger star than when she went in as the champ, and that was the goal. Like that was a great. Obviously, that segment was to say put some respect on Io's name. And I thought it did just that. And I thought it went perfectly. The slap.
And that's got to be, obviously, if there was any sliver of a doubt for the triple threat at Mania, I think that kind of just did away with that. And I actually feel better about Io retaining at WrestleMania.
So do
now.
I. So do I. I kind of think that she will.
I think she will, too. So be
I
on the
think
lookout
that,
for our official predictions.
I think
for that.
Bianca and Rhea get too hung up with each other. And
Yeah.
Io comes back out on top.
And she needs it, and she deserves it.
Yeah,
a big
she
time
does.
win like that.
She would benefit the most from it.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I
Agreed.
mean? Like, she needs it more than they do. Like, they'll be fine.
Oh, yeah.
I think Io skyrockets with this win. So
Yeah.
I think she benefits from it more. So I think you're probably right at this. As we'll definitely see, of course, as the story plays out, prediction could 100% change 5 weeks from now. But as of right now, I feel pretty good about Io probably retaining there. I really like it. If I had the choice.
Agreed. And so, real quick, right now, the official WrestleMania matches at time of recording are all of your world titles. So you've got Tiff versus Charlotte. You have, right now, it's officially just Io versus Bianca. And then you have Cody versus Cena. And then you have Gunther versus Jey Uso. Those are the only matches that are officially official at time of recording this. I think.
Oh. I was going to say, we didn't talk about the Cody segment on Friday.
Oh, we did not.
Yeah, that was awesome, being in person for that.
Great Cody segment. Obviously, you want some, so come get some.
Yeah, I mean, dude, that was like where
Pissed off Cody's a good Cody,
where
man.
he was like, "You are convinced you are the last of your kind. I am standing here holding this title above my head as if it weighs nothing. You are not." Like, he was, dude, it was so good. Cody's
you want someone to get you fired up. Cody Rhodes will get you fucking fired up,
man.
dude.
Yeah.
So, and then we'll end on this. Roman Reigns, our tribal chief, is back.
Oh yeah,
Dylan.
of course.
Throw
Jeez.
them ones up, baby.
Throw them ones up. Can I say this?
What do you think? Mm-hmm.
I'm feeling. I let this marinate for a little bit. Of course, Seth Rollins is my guy, man. That's my guy. That's my top guy.
Oh boy.
Technically got the win, right? Technically got the win.
Didn't feel like a win.
But I've come to the conclusion. Seth Rollins is going to win at WrestleMania.
Oh.
That's why all of this is. That's why Seth has been struggling so much. Maybe not
He
why.
pins Roman?
No, I think he pins Punk.
Which one do you think would mean more, if he pinned Roman or if he pinned Punk? There's a good argument for both.
I think Punk is more necessary.
Okay.
Because I think there's just so much more to be told with Roman.
Okay.
I think they can carry that until like next Mania and have a singles match with Seth and Roman.
So you feel
I don't
pretty
know.
good about that triple threat, though, right?
Yeah,
Like, that feels
yeah.
like kind of like
That's
chalking up
locked in.
that triple threat,
That's
Cena
locked
versus
in.
Cody.
It's locked in.
We were
The
talking
triple threat's
about-
locked in.
Yeah, I feel pretty good about that.
I
And
feel like
gonna
that's
be a lot
gonna
of fun.
that's gonna main event, dude. I'm pretty confident about it.
Night one.
Yeah, I'm like very confident of it.
I'm still trying to hold out hope that Jay's going to main event night one.
Yeah. I just can't see them
I agree.
not putting Roman in the main event.
I agree. But if there's someone that could, it's going to be main event Jey Uso getting his first
Man,
world
dude,
title win.
Don't sleep on that women's match though. The triple threat.
Dude,
That could potentially main event, bro.
I
Io
think
is-
there's I know.
Io is so over.
I know.
You want to hear something from me?
Sure.
I think there's a better chance that main events than Jay.
I think that's crazy.
Really?
I think that's absolutely crazy.
Dude, we all know Triple H is about the best story. Now, I love Jay. But I think that story between, like he's saying, whatever story is the best and, like, has the most, that's what main events. I think that story between those three women, of course, with that being said, it's easy for something to be the best story when obviously that is what Triple H is putting the most effort into. The story that he's putting the most effort into are usually the ones that end up main eventing. It's like,
Yeah.
But I think so. That's why specifically, obviously, I'm saying I think it'll probably be Roman, Punk, and Seth. But the women's match, I just think has the potential to really, really, really heat up over this build. And I think EO going into Mania, hot take. I don't know if it's that hot of a take. I think going into WrestleMania, EO Sky might be the most over person on the roster. And I'm not saying that she's there at this exact moment. By the time we're there, I think EO Sky is going to be the most over out of any babyface on Monday Night Raw.
All right. I can get behind that.
So that's kind of why I think they're going to end it with her.
I will say it is interesting when you think about the builds between the J and the Io, Rhea, and Bianca, right? Because the J feud has been going on forever, and it almost feels like we're kind of at like a stalemate with that. Like I don't know how many times Jay's gonna come out on Monday Night Raw, and him and Gunther are just gonna like fight. It feels like every single week, or Gunther wrestles somebody and Jay comes to whoever he just beat the crap out of's rescue, or it's going to be Jay fights somebody and then Jay wins, and then after the match Gunther kind of comes out and then beats up Jay. Like it kind of feels like at that point, like with the Jay and Gunther stuff, we're in the middle of the feud and we're kind of just like WrestleMania could be next week and it would be fine. But it's like for the Io, Rhea, and Bianca feud, it's like, all right, now we're just starting this. Like that's a feud that's only going to get hotter as we get closer to WrestleMania.
Exactly.
I don't think this Jay and Gunther feud will necessarily get hotter. I think it's going to remain as however hot it is right now, and it has a better chance of losing heat from now until WrestleMania, as opposed to it gaining more heat. Like, what else could they do to get this Jay and Gunther feud like hotter?
So I think the only thing that I could be thinking right is that Triple H is kind of just killing some time because he doesn't want. I think he potentially has 2, 3, 4 big segments that will add a lot. And I don't think he wants. I think in his mind, those happening all toward the end will kind of hit harder rather than them happening now. Does that make sense?
Yeah, but what do you think they would be? Because it feels like we've kind of they would have to get real creative.
I think a Jay promo potentially where his family comes out to talk to him, or we get like a promo between Jay and Roman, and like Roman is like trying to
Interesting.
like a sort of thing where Jay is starting to doubt himself.
Yeah.
And then we get like the rest of the family sort of deal. I think Jay, I don't know. I think we're going to get at least one promo from Jay where people are like, all right, that was the best Jay Uso promo ever. Like, I think we're going to get one like really good promo.
I could see it for sure. The way they're building it with him, with how much he's doubting himself.
Yeah, I think I think it's going to be a very impassioned fight from behind story. I don't know exactly how they're going to do it, but I just think they have bigger segments planned as the match gets closer. I think Triple H knows that there's time, so he doesn't want to do one of those early and then kind of just forget about it. I think he wants them all the biggest segments to build to the match to kind of be all fresh on our mind.
I think something fun that they could do is have Gunther get involved with the bloodline a little bit, like you said. Like if Roman comes out, have Gunther come out and just either beat up Roman, maybe beat up Jimmy, kick the crap out of Sammy. Like, I think if like that's kind of a way to heat this feud up, if he just like attacks Jimmy and like then you kind of make it a little more personal and stuff. But
yeah, who knows? Maybe we get Rikishi involved. Rikishi comes out and has to like talk to Jay to like put some sense into him or something. I don't know, but yeah, like I said, I'm not 100% sure how they're gonna go about it, but I have faith that we're going to get at least 2 or 3 segments that will be the best of the entire build.
Okay. I hope so. So you guys let us know, what do you think is going to be the main event of night 1 of WrestleMania? Is it going to be Io versus Rhea versus Bianca? Is it going to be Jay versus Gunther? Or is it going to be Roman versus Punk versus Seth? Let us know in the comments down below. Make sure to follow us on all of our social media. You can watch the Burning Hammer podcast on YouTube at The Burning Hammer, or you can listen to it wherever you listen to your podcast, Apple, Spotify, you name it. We're on there. With that being said, I am Mark Izzo. He is Dylan O'Brien. And this has been another episode of the Burning Hammer podcast. We'll catch you next week.
Catch you.